1,000 feet. Use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey friends, it's Monday, August 2nd, 2021, and we are back with a brand new week of Prepare to Go There. My name is Peter, and it has been such a fun run to do this coaching journey with you. We've been going now 31 times. It's actually more than a month. I think we're like passing 2 or 2.5 months here because of weekdays, but basically, you have found the most overrated and wait, did I say that right? You have found the most overlooked and underrated coaching conversation on the internet. That's my opinion, but I'm convinced that our future deserves our focus today. And this is unscripted. This is a stream of conscience. I definitely have slides prepared, so I know where we need to go. But our commitment is to keep showing up and to keep having that mission critical conversation that so many friends and leaders kind of forget. And that is, what are you doing with the future today? Like, how are you personally taking action towards that wild and kind of scary, but ultimately important future that is waiting on you? We are waiting on things that are actually waiting on us. Do we really believe that? Do we really believe that although there are a lot of uncontrollables, we're refusing to be controlled by the uncontrollables? We're going to do what we can when we can, because it matters, because something's going to change in us when we take that step towards the future, and the future itself will respond accordingly. So, welcome to the Future Frontier. It is my intention to go live later today. I'm actually recording this a little bit earlier. It is actually Monday. I am intending to be live with you, but just in the contingency that the day goes a different way, I wanted to have this scheduled for you because I'm committed to show up for you. I hope you are committed to show up for you too. This is why I'm doing this coaching journey. I've found in observation and my own experience that if we're honest, most people don't know how to lead others into a better future because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. It really comes down to self-leadership. It's the unseen, it's the unpopular, it's the unwanted conversation in the leadership space. We want to learn about the public side of leadership. We want to learn about the automated side of leadership. We want to learn about the generational aspects of leadership. I love that. That's a cool conversation. But really, we have to keep our feet on the ground. We have to think about the actionable, tactical ways we are leading ourselves, because it creates the credibility to lead others by example. And so if we automate or we abdicate away our own sense of confidence and competence, we're not really preparing people for the future. We're just pretending that we know where it is. And we're actually in the back of our heads expecting other people to figure out something that we are supposed to be figuring out because we are the leaders. So it's a really important conversation. That's why we have a daily dose of future focus. We want to encourage you. I say we, I mean the future friends, this growing, thriving email community. You guys are blowing me away. But the promise attached with this coaching journey is one and kind of two. It is to help you, number one, prepare to go there. You're going places. You got an amazing future ahead of you. So because of that, don't procrastinate. Prepare. Like it's not, some Debbie Downer statement. This is a hopeful, like hard pressed call to action, invitation. Hey, you're going places in the future. I can't even begin to describe, and I can't wait to find out what kind of future successes and opportunities and advances you are a part of, but you got to prepare to go there. And this is that call to action. And here comes that twofold response. When you hear the invitation to go on a journey that is transformational, it will hopefully call you to focus practically on the future, not to get distracted, discouraged, disqualified, but instead stay focused practically, not just in fantasy, not just in the ideals, not just in some like wishful thinking, but like focus practically on your future. And that's a mindset and some skill sets. But then after that, you've got this amazing, plan. You've got this amazing strategy. You're implementing it. But now you have to say, what do I do in the meantime? I know that this is going to take time to wait on, to work towards. I have a bet that it's going to be worth it. But what do I do in the meantime? And that's where step 2 comes in. You are learning, you're practicing then how to lead yourself there tactically day by day. So if that resonates with you, I want you to join the Future Friends email community. This is just an amazing group of friends and leaders that are like-minded and that realize that this journey was never meant to go it alone, and that we can encourage each other by our progress. So we want to have progress to show and share. And just by joining this email community, I want to give you a free gift. Sign up for the free fail-proof planning guide, which is really going to help you with a proven step-by-step process to stay agile, not fragile, as things are changing. And if we learned anything from 2020, now going into 2021, it's that our calendar is probably better off being written in pencil than pen, but you still have to make commitments. You still have to set goals. You still have to lead yourself, because the alternative is far, far worse than playing it safe. And we don't want to just play it safe. We don't want to just abdicate our own sense of empowerment. We don't want to fall off of the ongoing work that makes it worthwhile in the end. The journey is worth it. So we want to get into this conversation today. I just drafted a blog. You'll be seeing it drop later this evening. Tactics to win at home. And I basically lay out a case that your personal life, your private life, is mission critical. That more people win or lose based on that arena of their life than they do any other arena in their life. We think that the big successes or the big failures really trail back to, work decisions or public life or, even our associations. But the truth is, we are making massive choices with our personal life, with our home life, that will either set us up for success or failure. So that's kind of the theory. Now I want to just get into some tactics to lead yourself at home. You say, hey, I got to make this work in my home life. Now, last week we did a little bit more talking, thinking, working on your job, your team, your productivity, We talked about your focus. We talked about how to navigate different scenarios that would rob your focus. But this week is going to be all about enjoying your home life again. Don't run away from it, but run into it and let it make you stronger. So here's a quote. I honestly don't think it has much to do with the topic at hand. I was just kind of looking for quotes, and this one kind of just took me off guard. And I was like, that's actually really good. Homer, that guy who wrote the Odyssey, he said, there is nothing more admirable than when two people who see eye to eye keep house as man and wife, confounding their enemies and delighting their friends. I just think that's pretty colorful. And what an awesome three-pointer for home life and the family. And that was just really cool. And it just, I don't know, I think it resonated with me because of my season of life. Sarah Joy and I just got into a house, and we are kind of building our home life together, growing our culture, our community together. And it's been a lot of fun. And I love that phrase, confound. When you work together as a team and you're on the home team, that's when you're confounding your enemies and delighting your friends. I think it was really cool. But anyways, let's get on with it. Where do you begin? The first place you begin is with your why. If you want to lead yourself at home, you have to start with a very clear value system. What kind of person are you becoming? What's important to you? Where are you going? What are the ingredients that are going to go into your recipe for success? And working on your why is so important because those become the decisions that actually guide and filter your habits, your scheduling, your projects, your moments with friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, whoever. You always are going back to your why. Your why is your worldview. It's your value system. It's just a handful of things that are in a way more important for where you are in your journey. There are a lot of things that are probably important, but there's a few that you say, I'm going to adopt as my own. And so working on your why looks like getting the right inputs, learning, growing, journaling, having good intentional decisions, because that's what this is all about. It's just about being intentional. It's about being proactive, not reactive. Like for real, if you're going to lead yourself, you got to know where you're going. And so I love this quote. It's hard for people to follow you when you're going 15 different directions. And if you're constantly changing your mind, it's because you probably didn't settle on your why. And Michael Hyatt says, when you lose your why, you lose your way. So you actually work on your why. You're working on it. I think it's cool to, number one, do work. It's important. It's valuable. It's meaningful. You look back at it, you have this sense of accomplishment, this sense of gratitude that you took on something bigger than you and you beat it. You did it. It makes you bigger because of it. And then you're not just working in your day-to-day life, you're working on your day-to-day life. That's why it's called your lifestyle, because you get to design it. It's your style of how you're going to do life. And that's amazing. And it's unique and needed. And it needs to be fresh and original, because if you knew how original you really were, you wouldn't want to copy anyone else. That's crazy to me. If you and I knew how original we were made to be, then we wouldn't want to copy anyone else. Why are we trying to conform to the patterns of a culture that knows nothing about us, has nothing to offer us, but only tries to take from us and tries to degrade us? Man, we can be transformed inside out. That's this project. Being transformed inside out, the way you renew your thinking, the way you renew your thoughts. And you really have to work on your thought life. You have to work on your values. You have to work on your self-talk. When you recognize self-talk happening, talk back. Now, I'm not saying you have some weird conversation with yourself. All I'm saying is that you are being intentional. Are you being intentional about who you're becoming? And you need some sort of model. You need some sort of example. You need some sort of framework. You need some sort of focus or focal point. And when you have that, then it helps inform and influence the rest of your other choices. It's a pre-decision, right? A conviction. It's something, a standard is not something you go below. It's like, hey, I've already set that standard. Now I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to build on that. I'm going to move forward with it. So do the work on, not just in. Work on this is your life, your time, your choices, your future. Work on your why. Be really intentional about why you're doing things. Because when you have a purpose behind your morning routine, you have a purpose behind the way you organize your kitchen, you have a purpose behind the kinds of things you want to grow in your garden, you have a purpose behind the way you've organized your workspace, the workflow. When you have a purpose behind it, you feel like you have that ownership and it's yours and it means something to you and you want to take care of it and you want to make it successful. So it's kind of like you're investing up front, and that's really powerful. But now that you have these values, what are you going to do? You got to own those values. You have to own them. You can't make excuses. You have to take ownership and say, I am going to live this way. I'm going to go in this direction. This is not just a fun idea. I'm going to insert it into my day, into my week, into my lifestyle, and I hope that it becomes my new identity. See, owning these values makes it personal. It's not just I like to run. It's I am a runner. It's not just I'm good at writing. It's I am a writer. It's not just telling the truth is good. It's I am a truthful person. It's not just I'm trying to be better. It's I've been given opportunities that I cannot squander. I will be better. So own your values, make it personal, and put it in your language. Put your values in your language. Talk about the things you're interested in. Talk about the things you're passionate about. Talk about your future. Talk about where you're going. Get to know the terrain. Get to know the landscape. Understand it. Learn it. Dialogue through it. Become very well versed in your vision. Own your values. One thing you could do is just decorate around your house all your values. Like put your values in print, in word, in colors, in music, in genre. Like have fun. This is your canvas to paint on. And I can tell you, we're probably already doing this. Like if you go into someone's space and you just see all of their life, all of their passions, all the things that they think are funny or they think are cool or they think are important. I mean, they plaster all their values on their cars, on their computers, their desktops. They're plastering their why all the time. All I'm saying is own it, make it intentional, and begin to design a space where you actually identify with the future you're heading into. And then from there, this is the big one, schedule your values. Schedule your values. This has been a recent kick I've been on. If we say we value X, Y, Z, then where do you have a time block in the day, week, or month for X, Y, or Z. Like if you say you value your health, then hopefully you're working on your fitness much more than you are just scheduling appointments to go to the doctor, to a hospital. Like if you say you value your health, where is it showing up on your calendar? Because if it's not in your calendar, then something's breaking down there. So schedule your values. That is a massive key to lead yourself at home. Getting a good morning routine, getting a good evening routine, getting some steps already pre-decided before you try to, make food or start work or, whatever. As you're tinkering, as you're thinking through all of these little habits and interactions throughout your week, and most of it's going to have a habitual nature, so you can constantly be learning and improving as you go, and your schedule can be reflecting that. Now, I think where this all kind of hits the ground running is with the weekly schedule, the weekly planning session. Having time. You say, what's the first block I need to put on my calendar? Well, the first block you probably need is sleep, honestly, because you want to rest so that way you can be at your best. And then after sleep, for me, I got to start with my values, right? So I value my relationship with the Lord. So I want to spend time with the Lord. So that's a big value for me. And I put that in the calendar in the day. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't interact with the Lord. I'm not praying. I'm not, thanking him. I'm not learning, growing, having conversations. Like I'm owning that. So it's still happening in a spontaneous kind of ongoing way, but I don't want to assume that that's always going to be the case. I don't want to assume that that's always going to happen. I might get hyped up. The other night, I was running around the house and I was, doing push-ups and jumping jacks and all that and having fun, just kind of feeling energetic. And I was like doing my workouts and stuff like that. But that wasn't scripted. That was just kind of showing up. That was enough to just give me a burst of inspiration. So that way I could fuel my motivation to show up at the next scheduled time and actually do that work. So don't assume that, yes, it's going to be happening off and on throughout the day, throughout the week. But don't assume that that's enough. Also schedule it in. Get those building blocks for the lifestyle you're designing. Schedule your values. Then I want you to organize your stuff with those values in mind. Organize your home. Organize your living room or your kitchen or whatever that setup looks like. Do you have some organization? Do you have some purpose behind every place? I love this phrase. I think my wife gave it to me. I think she actually got it somewhere from TikTok. But we don't just put things down, we put things away. Don't just put things down, put things away. So when you walk in the door, don't just put it down, put it away. Put it where it belongs. There's a place, there's a purpose in the way you organize your stuff. That goes a long, long way. I actually use the same language. My values, my goals, my projects, all of that goes into my organization, my digital folders, my notebooks, the way I put things in bags and boxes around the house. I'm using a lot of that same language, a lot of that same thinking, because my philosophy has become the framework by which I'm building towards the future. So it's really important that you are organizing yourself, but it's not just like, houseware and tools and whatever. It's like you don't just need time to live in and live out your future and work on your future and work on yourself and work on your passions and work on your dreams. You don't just need a time, you need a space. You need a space. It may not always be a dedicated space, but it is a space. And so time and space, you're putting both into practice You know your values. You're working on your why. You're scheduling those values. Now you're organizing spaces where those values can show up. You enjoy cooking, organize that kitchen so that way when you get in there, there's less friction and it's easier just to get started. It's easier just to get going. You've got a workflow in there. Man, I think this is I know that the chefs are the experts, they're the professionals, and they make it look easy. But I think if we kind of shadowed them for a while and we got in their kitchen and we understood their workflow, and we would feel a little more empowered. We'd be like, wow, I'm feeling kind of like a cook myself. I'm feeling like a professional. I think I could do this. I mean, I was getting inspired just watching the little Ratatouille movie, learning little tips like keeping your elbows in and keeping, I think, your apron dirty and your sleeves clean. Like I was like, that's a good tactic. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. I got this. I can make that happen. What's going on? You get in a space where that value emerges and it's happening. Now, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was growing up, I didn't really have a value for working out because we didn't really do it. We didn't really have a space for it. We never really made time for it. And then even when I went to school, like junior high, man, all of the memories I have of my junior high PE, junior high physical education, my gym, whatever, man, I always use the old, musty clothes that they gave us. And the gym was so old. Now the high school was better, but the junior high, man, it just kind of scarred me, I think, emotionally. Now I don't need therapy or anything about it. I'm just saying it took me a while to actually come around to say, oh, this can be fun. This can be cool. This can be beneficial. This can be empowering. I can do this. I think just kind of getting in that space. I didn't even want to be in that space because I think I was allergic to my locker. It was like, why would I want to come here? This space is horrible. And they picked the worst time. You're exhausted and you don't feel like it. But I look back and I say, if I had a different time, a different space, maybe some different people to have a different support system there, it wasn't just something we had to do, it was something we got to do. I think I could grow that value a little bit sooner, a little bit faster. So organize your values. Think of the spaces that you're going to be doing life in and think of how you can optimize those environments. And then grow your values. Realize that your values are going to change like you. And they're hopefully not going to, regress. They're going to progress. They're going to get better. They're going to grow. And, I was just watching a documentary about gardening and it was super fun. They were talking about the importance of pruning back the leaves and the branches so that way you can multiply more, produce. And it's kind of counterintuitive, right? That cutting back actually helps you multiply your carrying capacity, your production value. But when you're working on your values, sometimes you write it down or you're scheduling it out. And it's very true. Your journal can get cluttered with things you know to do, should do, want to do, ought to do. Your calendar can get cluttered. Definitely your home, all your closets, your workspace, whatever, that can all get cluttered. So it's cool to just kind of clean up, to kind of cut some stuff out, to refresh, to move forward with renewed perspective. And then out of that, new ideas will come. New inspiration will come. And you begin to grow your values again. Now, I hope that my values don't change dramatically, like in the sense that, I have to have a different foundation to the house I've built. But what I'm referring to is that in order to move into the future, you have to have the room for improvement. And you will obviously outgrow, and you'll have to prune, and you'll have to change. And that's a beautiful part because the things you were dreaming about are now real. They're not just, symbols and types and mottos and wishes. You're actually living in a lifestyle where it is more personal, more practical than it's ever been before. So growing is really good. And I think this email community, I think this group of friends and leaders are all about that, all about growing, all about summarizing and strategizing, all about improving. So I wanted to add this point to remind you to enjoy your values. Like, don't just make all of this a project where you lose the fun, you lose the joy of your day-to-day life, you lose the fun of being at home. I think so many of us, we have far reduced the definition of home to the most exhausted, the most burned out, the most mentally frayed, or the most emotionally frustrated space that we can be in. And all those activities and all those emotions and all those relational dynamics, that's what we have blasted. And we think it's funny and we think it's entertaining and we think that it's normal, and it doesn't have to be. Like, what if your home life was your favorite place to be? What if your home base were actually your favorite place in the whole world? Like, what if you gave Disney a run for its money and you said, you know what? I got great values. I got great culture. I have great systems. I have a great schedule. There's amazing people that are coming and going out of this place. Like, it's customized. It's changing. We're innovating. We're having fun. We're working on our future together. It could literally be your favorite place. And that's what I want you to think about, is to enjoy your values. Guys, if you appreciated this, you thought this was helpful, valuable, then please share this link, share this video, share this coaching conversation with other friends and leaders, and let them know that they can get in the coaching community, this email community, and they'll get a free fail-proof planning guide as well. They just sign up for it, and it'll put them in the Future Friends. Didn't talk too much about Future Friends today, but we will at some point. I really appreciate your time. I want you to take personal ownership of the way you spend your time at home. And don't just think of it as the margins of a really awesome day somewhere else, but think of it as the centerpiece of everything else that you're doing. It is whatever metaphor you want to use, the foundation to your house. It is the center of your map. It is the rocket fuel that's going to take you out there. And it really is an enjoyable part of your lifestyle. So keep it up. Stay awesome. Remember, you're going places, so prepare to go there. See you tomorrow.